So did you catch any of the matches that they did earlier today?
No, I did not.
They played a team that was called BB Bronze, and they won 2 out of 3. First 2 games.
Nice.
Special shout out to kirbycommander for pretty much carrying both games. He took over and just stomped.
I've heard he tends to carry quite a bit of the time.
I mean, he hasn't been employing his special strat of feed to win, so trying something new for these games is actually working out for him pretty well.
Okay, taking some risks. Paying off.
Absolutely.
Good to hear. Okay.
And I talked with Vaerris a little bit about his Malphite mid pick. He basically took the rock solid dude and turned him into a glass cannon, building pretty much straight up AP.
Okay, and that worked out?
Yeah, it actually worked out really well for him. I believe, he had at least 4 kills in the second game where he picked it. And I asked him about it a little bit, and he said that with the removal of DFG and the nerfs to like LeBlanc and Fizz, Malphite is actually one of the most reliable AP assassins that's left in the game.
Yeah, I know he used to play assassins, or probably still does. So that probably was a big cut to his champion pool. The nerfs on the assassins.
I mean, he said that he likes playing people that don't take a lot of skill to play well, but with perfect execution you can play really well, like the AP Malphite, and in the first game he picked a Fiora mid.
Really? Wow.
That didn't work out nearly as well for him, but he still managed to do...
Who was he laning against with these picks? I'm curious.
With the Malphite he was against an Ezreal mid who went blue build.
Really?
And that actually was a very interesting matchup because early in lane, Vaerris would just keep queuing the Ezreal, and he couldn't sustain because he went the blue build Ezreal, so he just had the tier. And it looks like these games are getting underway, so we can see what the picks actually are this time.
Okay.
So it looks like the University of North Dakota are pulling out pretty standard lanes. They have a Kennen in top lane, a Vi in the jungle, a Zed for mid laner, a Jinx for an AD carry, and a Morgana for support.
Very standard.
And then on Madison's side, we have kirbycommander on that Vladimir in the top. Hopefully he can put out enough harass to outpoke the Kennen. He's been known to take over games. A couple days ago, he had a 1 versus 2 double kill in the top lane. Under enemy turret. That was a fantastic play to watch.
Oh my goodness, what champion was he?
He was Vladimir. So he knows how to play Vladimir perfectly.
Alright.
I'd
love to see a good Vladimir.
Looks like we got Sejuani in the jungle. That's going to be a lot of CC coming in. Perfectly to support that. Fiora mid again. Vaerris confident with that pick. And then we got Randman on Sivir and Skillwrecks making the hooks on that Thresh.
They are going to have a pretty nasty AoE team fight if they can combo the Sejuani ult with the Vladimir and possibly the Fiora as well.
But looking back on the other side, that Zed, Thresh is going to have to be pretty much on point here because Zed's going to be coming in for Sivir, so is that Vi, and hopefully they don't just wombo combo that Sivir out of play.
One thing is though that Sivir can shield Zed's ult, which is really, really strong if you execute it correctly, and can be a huge cut to Zed's damage. Makes it a lot harder for him to assassinate Sivir.
But then there's all that lockdown that the Kennen and Morgana offer with those AoE ults.
Right.
So it's going to be really interesting to see which targets Madison decides to burst down first, because I'm seeing a lot of damage from that North Dakota comp.
Right. That is true. Yeah, it's going to be... They both really have really strong team fights. A lot of AoE, couple of an assassin really on each side. Fiora will basically be an assassin, I'm assuming, since she's mid.
Yep.
And she usually is.
So we'll see how this turns out. I'm hoping for a really good game. It's going to be an exciting matchup. One thing that I have noticed in a lot of these other games that we've been seeing is the CS difference 10-20 minutes into the game.
Mm-hmm.
Madison has been farming very, very well, and they're usually coming away with at least a 10 CS difference at 10 minutes, but in some games where the matchups haven't been even, there have been massive CS differences. In most of the games where Kirby Commander's taking over, he's even had a CS lead of over 150.
Gee. Yeah, that can make a huge difference. Well, just looking at past the rank from the past season, it's looking good for Madison. I mean, not even platinum for 4 of those players on, was it North Dakota?
Yep.
That could bode well.
In
But doesn't it?
the game against Bronze BB earlier, or BB Bronze, they had a pretty diverse matchup. There were 2 golds, a platinum, and 2 diamonds, and they were able to take a pretty commanding lead. The second game was a little bit closer, but they managed to start pulling away once Kirby Commander on Renekton. He left lane, I think, 4-1, and with just with a Ravenous Hydra was able to just absolutely decimate the other team.
Yeah,
1v4
that's really all he needs for damage.
1v4ing it points in the game.
Yeah, Renekton, when he gets out of control, can be devastating.
There's Kirby
Innately
Commander.
tanky and AoE and single target and stuns, and you really tough to take him down when he's rolling.
Yep.
30 seconds
Looking at the
until
starting
spawn.
lanes here, something I haven't seen from Madison is that they usually go for a 5-man invade and get some wards down on the enemy red. But North Dakota's had a pretty spread out start, and they actually not invaded at all.
They must have not had confidence in their level 1 fight. A lot of their champions don't have the strongest 1v1. I mean, level 1 fight, no bad. Sejuani,
Minions have spawned.
probably not the best level 1.
Sivir would absolutely get destroyed by
Vlad.
Jinx level 1.
Yeah. Vlad he's pretty much strongest late game, early game, he's kind of meh.
Yeah, once he hits his level 6 and 9 power spikes, he's tough to handle. But on the same note, Kennen, once he hits his level 6 power spikes, is also quite a menace to deal with in lane. So I'm
That
excited
is
to
true.
see who hits 6 first and who is able to do what. Vaerris going aggressive early with that
Yep.
Fiora.
Which was smart play for the most part. He has to be somewhat aggressive if he's going to be able to keep up with the Zed harass, who's got some of that ranged, a little more range on his harass. So Vaerris has to get in close to trade.
You see Skillwrecks getting caught by a Dark Binding. Lands the hook though.
Ooh,
That's going to be a
the
lot
hook.
of harass taken. But
Chunks out half of his life instantly.
So we'll see how much of an impact those hooks are going to be having on this game. When Skillwrecks was playing on Thresh earlier, not able to land as many hooks. Ooh, there's another hook out of the Jinx.
Another hook. They have the level 2.
He's
They are
had-
just chunking Jinx.
He had some issues with landing those hooks earlier, but no issues today.
Not at all. He's 2 for 2 so far. And 1 on each champion. So both lane opponents are running low on health.
And that's having a big impact. Look at how far that turret is shoved.
Very true. Jinx managing to keep pretty much even on CS though. Despite the hooks.
But Sivir, if she gets pushed to her turret, is absolutely just in trouble, in serious trouble. Once the lane is pushed, however, she's able to focus on dishing out more of that AoE damage, giving a lot of harass.
That is very true. And we have a gank coming in top.
Segue
Nice
tool,
pull
perfect
by
timing.
Kirby Commander. That was perfect.
Keeping himself safe in that lane.
Still has his flash, not a problem, and Vaerris going down a little too aggressive there. Didn't respect the Zed.
Here comes
Another
Vi for the
gank coming
repeat.
in.
Sanguine Pool is down this time. Lots of
And
damage
that
coming in. That's going to be second blood.
Is unfortunate.
North Dakota now up by 2 kills and 1k gold in this game.
Wow, that is a quick swing in favor of them. It's too bad Kirby didn't flash. He was probably trying to pull and just realized if it was still on cooldown.
Vi still had flash at that point, so I don't think it would have made that much of a difference.
Yeah, that's true too. But he could have dodged the Vi Vault Breaker, which could have been a big.
That definitely could have saved
lifesaver.
That could have saved his life.
But he's probably better than me, so I'm not gonna fault him for that.
Vi is putting a lot of pressure into the top lane. Sedge just power farming, trying to hit that 6, get her ult, able to make some big AoE CC plays.
And Sejuani going with the Trailblazer, get a little more clear since Sejuani struggles a little bit with that.
Vaerris still going aggressive. Here comes the Zed back again. Looks like it's a pretty even trade. Zed's a little low on energy right now. Still managed to land those Qs, doing lots of damage. So,
and Vaerris will be able to sustain some of that health back.
He does have his Vampiric Scepter.
Vampiric Scepter.
Versus the 3 longsword build of the Zed.
Yes, which will dish out plenty of damage and will be very scary once he hits 6.
Here comes the Sejuani on the top side though. Here's the aggressive Zed.
Oh, wow.
There's the ignite. There's the double flash. He's not going to have enough damage though.
Could not connect.
But Sedge helped him shove that lane in. They're going to go for some damage on that turret. Fiora still pretty low, and the Zed. Oh, she missed. There's the Vi flash.
Turnaround. Wow.
Flash Vault Breaker.
Sejuani
Chunks out that Sejuani.
Instantly demolished by the Zed Vi combo. A little overextended there.
Spell Shield, keeping the Morgana safe. That's unfortunate. And that's going to be a big thing in this game, to see if that Morgana has the reaction time to deal with those Thresh hooks.
Yes. And up until that one, he hasn't had a very good time doing those shields.
I think part of it was a matter of that he was under-leveled.
Right, they were level 1, so he probably didn't have the shield yet. So he couldn't block those hooks, but now he's showing that he definitely can.
And here comes what I was talking about on being able to push in that Sivir. If the lane gets pushed to turret, she's going to have a lot of trouble farming, and Brandman's going to struggle tremendously getting all of that CS under turret. Here comes the Lantern gang from the Sejuani though. Got hit by the double trap, but the Flay.
Great play by Zed.
Here comes the teleport from the Kennen though. He's level 6.
Ulting.
There's the ult.
Manages to get out the stun on Thresh and Sivir, and Thresh goes down. His
with the final rocket to Jinx.
Just used it. And it is not looking good for Madison right now.
North Dakota's just taking another kill off. All the lanes have gotten some of that pressure now. And Vi's having a big impact on this game.
Yes, he certainly is. And Sejuani doesn't have the biggest impact early game, for sure. I would say Madison has the stronger late game team. Although both teams do have a pretty strong late game.
It's all going to come down to these mid-game team fights, and being 2k up in gold isn't the end of the world, but in this early game, it's definitely not making it easy for Madison.
No. But Zed does tend to fall off, I would say, really late game. And Fiora will probably, if anything, become more of a threat late game with that ultimate and just doing insane damage. Wow, nice
that's
hook.
a beautiful hook from Skillwrecks. Gets the play. Jinx, really low health. They're going to have to be backing up. There's the Jinx ult. Skillwrecks
nice
intercepts
block.
it, though. No damage on the Randman. Nice plays. All of this game from Skillwrecks.
Wow,
There's the
that
Flash
is a
Morgana
very
ult.
aggressive
That's
play
going to be a
by
lot of damage
Morgana.
on Lands
the
it,
stun off,
gets the hook onto
and
Jinx.
wow,
That's
great
gonna be
hook by
one
Brett.
dead Jinx. So 80 carries
that-
trading kills.
Was quite a trade there. Both supports landing their CC and the 80 carries just finishing each other off.
And there are no summoner spells left in that bottom lane. That's been a just bloodbath down there.
It really has. And both sides coming out fairly even. Jinx a little bit ahead, 1 kill up, and 18 CS, which is pretty significant at this point. He has the BF sword even, and the pickaxe.
Ooh,
So
Kirby
he's-
Commander taking some damage.
Oh,
Using
no.
Wayne Pool. There's the Vi ult
Oh, wow.
and the Cannon ult. He's getting locked down.
Good
He is
luck
dropping.
making it out of that one.
Vi coming up, just a major impact in this game. And that Zed harass is just terrorizing that Fiora. Fiora actually ults. There's the Morgana. She gets Zed ulted. There's the Sejuani ult. Death Mark does not pop him, but the Zed
that
Shadow.
Shadow just finishes.
Sejuani
Vaerris off.
does not have enough damage to take down both of them at once. She's gonna have to back off.
It really looks like that Sejuani pick is hurting them
Just not
in this
having
game so far.
not having that early game impact.
It was a bit of a risky pick. And he hasn't been able to get off very effective ganks
I mean,
so far in this game.
it's not the lack of effectiveness of the ganks. It's just the fact that they've been too far and too late. Kirby Commander's gotten ganked, what, 3 times by the Vi now? And he's sitting there at 0-2. But still, he's managed to stick 30 CS up, pretty much negating that gold difference. But it's just
That is very true. He's pushing that lane hard.
It's
Regardless of the ganks. Doesn't even have wards.
there's that thresh hook onto the Morgana.
Oh,
That's going to be a lot of damage. There's the
Doesn't even
Morgana
get out
ult.
the stun from the Morgana ultimate.
There's the
Wow,
Thresh
and
box.
they could get a double here.
There's the Sivir ult. Lots of
CC
damage.
coming
Skillwrecks
in.
tanking turret.
Wow,
Misses the Q.
Sandman does not manage to finish him off.
And the Jinx rocket just misses. Here comes Vi though.
That
spotted
fear
by
of
the
the
ward.
Vi is holding them back there, down dot.
But Sedge
They
is
did
in the
not wanna
area. She's gotten spotted by the Vi. Vi forced to
And-
back off there.
Not going in despite being 1 champion up.
Well, if you look at those health bars, Skillwrecks is almost out of health. There comes the
That
Vi
is
with the
true,
flash
and
vault
here
breaker.
Vi comes.
There's the Jinx. Jinx has a passive
Land.
proc. Sivir, gotta respect her damage though. There's the Jinx traps. They're gonna retreat.
And that was just another clean gank.
Sedge wasn't in the
Vi.
area, despite hanging around by Dragon. She wasn't anywhere in the area when Vi decided to go in.
Yep, I think she went to go
She went to clear
kill
her
the
ground.
Grom. Which did not quite work out,
Kirby Commander, though,
unfortunately.
that consistent pressure in top lane, finally resulting in that turret going down.
Yep. And that is the job of a top laner, to be a constant source of pressure.
Here comes the Sejuani ganks, gets the Sejuani ult off, lots of
And,
damage
well,
coming in, there's the Fiora ult,
Could be a kill
Tanking
yet,
shot, tanking
and
turret.
it is,
there's the Kennen,
but it
so
doesn't-
it's traded back and forth. But here's Kirby Commander, just showing up, not letting them take any more. Here's the Jinx ult.
doesn't
Kirby Commander's
do
full
much.
health. There's the challenging
Oh,
smite
no.
though. Here comes
Don't
the
get the
Morgana.
binding,
There's
nice
the Sanguine
dodge.
Pool.
And
Taking all of it
still
out.
going
There's the
in,
Vi ult.
Breaker goes off.
That Kennen is really low health. So is that Vi.
That Vlad ult manages to finish off a couple of those champions there, despite him going down.
But just looking at the big issues that Madison's going to have to be dealing with, even though Kirby Commander's 50 CS up, that mid lane Zed is 2-1 and has a 30 CS lead up on that Fiora mid.
Yeah, I would say in that
Look at that, he's
matchup,
just chunking people now.
Zed definitely has that advantage in laning in that matchup.
I'd be worried about them trying to contest this dragon with Zed Shadow of the
And
wall.
they are trying, but
Vaerris gets caught with a Dark Binding. Doesn't look to be too much harass unless the Zed decides to try and catch him out here, but that wouldn't be a good idea. Thresh has plays.
They are down in numbers in that vicinity, so that was a good dragon pick up there by Madison, even though we're down in gold.
Dragon pressure is definitely going to help them if they can start stacking those up. And they've been really good about that in other matches. They usually hit 4 dragons around 30 minutes. But usually by that point they've snowballed the game so that it doesn't matter. Spell shield by Sivir, blocks the Dark Binding, but not the Jinx trap.
Shield.
So they have to stop their dance.
Looks like we're having a bit of a lane swap and more action.
There's the
bottom.
Morgana.
Very aggressive plays. And
Jinx ult
there is
lands onto Skillwrecks,
a
but
magnet on Thresh
not
for
too much
those
damage.
Jinx ultimates.
But usually when he gets hit with them, he's almost full health, so they're having next to no impact.
Exactly, he's doing a good job of blocking those. Just standing in front of Jinx, not letting her finish off his teammates.
Here's Vi going for the blue buff steal on Sejuani. She's going for it in blind, and I don't think she's going to be able to catch him.
He has some wards. He'll know if
Smite
everyone
steal.
is coming.
The blue buff steal was successful.
And this Vi is just taking apart every level of this team.
Here comes Zed. There's the Zed ult. There's a Fiora
And
ult,
Fiora ult to counter it.
not quite enough.
Doesn't work out. Vi doesn't get the assist though.
But that solo kill in mid lane is just going to be causing all sorts of issues. That Zed is rolling 3-1.
Zed will, I'm sure, be very aggressive and continue to push that lead. And they can't even go in on Kirby Commander 2v1. He just doesn't care. Pushing regardless of this Vi here.
He's doing whatever he wants here. And
He can just burst down Kennen if Kennen chooses to go in. And probably Vi as well.
I mean, if I were Kirby Commander, looking at that Kennen half health, that's an E and a Hemo Plague and Kennen's done.
Exactly. Couple spells and that would be it. Assuming they can't
Here's the
stun
Vlad
lock him.
going for the pressure on that blue buff. Vi
Doesn't
manages to
manage to get
secure
it.
it.
Without smite even. But still, Kirby Commander just
Quite a bit of
choking
damage.
out.
Putting in the
wow.
Hemo Plague, putting in the E. That's going to be a lot of damage coming into that Vi, but not enough to take him out. Here's the Kennen
To
ult.
get the Vi, and Kennen finishes him off. That was a little bit
Too aggressive.
aggressive. He's trying to make some plays here, make something happen. Didn't quite work out the way he intended it to.
Unfortunately, that repeated Vi pressure leaves him 1-4, and that Kennen has had plenty of time to pick up that Zhonya's. So he's not going anywhere.
He will be forced to be reckoned with in team fights. Just ulting in, no fear. He can just pop his Zhonyas and be in perfect safety.
Lots of damage coming down. But even though the kill score is 12-5, if you look at the gold, they're only down by 2k.
That is very impressive. That must be because of DS and Dragon, I assume. Also, the towers.
The turret
The
pressure.
towers are definitely in favor of Madison right now. Because they've been pushing that bot and top lane, which also makes them more vulnerable to ganks. So that's why ganks have been so effective.
Here comes another fight mid. There's the Fiora ult.
And we could have Zed going down here. Zed ult to
Zed ult.
survive. Doesn't work.
Vaerris
Still
not
goes
able to
down.
flash over the wall.
1 for 1, not bad in a 4v2 situation.
There goes the Jinx rocket. And Jinx is just hard pushing bot now. Looks like she's going to get that turret. Even up, or push that gold advantage just a little bit more.
Definitely. And no one's coming bot to defend. It looks like this will be the first tower for North Dakota.
And it looks like North Dakota's getting some vision pressure on the Dragon side. Dragon's up in 1 minute. That's going to be a hot fight.
Trying to snag the crab. Have an unkillable ward for Dragon. That will be very convenient for them. Kirby Commander pushing once again.
Here comes the
He's
Vials.
a one-man push.
Taking cool, keeping him from getting knocked up.
Breaker.
Didn't look like he was able to do a whole lot. There's the Fiora, but she gets popped instantly. Hemoplague not doing enough to take out anyone.
And that is a three-man wrecking crew. Even though Assault and Battery didn't go off, they still managed to lock down and kill Vladimir and Fiora.
And with those two down, this dragon is going to be uncontestable Madison.
Oh yeah. They'll have to just push mid or top. Well, might have people backing.
They're sticking
Dakota
around.
Side? No. They're just maybe baiting.
Zed hasn't finished his Blade of the Rune King. He's just sitting there with a Bilgewater and a Brutalizer. Still a lot of damage, but he hasn't hit his absolute chunking point yet.
Yeah, he's got kind of an odd assortment of items there. Picking up the pickaxe before he finishes the Bork. Wants that extra AD scaling damage. And they're trying to just have a dragon do their work for them here.
And it looks like Vaerris is trying to push mid while this whole dragon dance is going around.
Get some extra poking in, and that is a good plan. Get some pressure going.
North Dakota shifting up to defend that turret. Jinx is going to be occupied there. Vi's going for a red buff. Madison can actually go for this dragon if they can chunk it down fast enough. Vi won't be available with a smite.
It will be a close one though, because North Dakota is coming in. They're
backing off the dragon. They're actually taking that really slowly. They're sticking around though.
Madison
There's the Jinx ult. Lots of damage coming in.
Risky spot here. They managed to get the dragon and they need to disengage.
Silver ult,
And
perfect
they do.
disengagement tool. Keeping everyone alive.
Not really sure why North Dakota was so hesitant there. They have a really strong lead, yet they did not push the fight there.
Kirby Commander, press W, dodged a lot of damage, takes the Thresh Express
Another
out.
disengage.
There's the cannon.
Nice Sejuani ult.
There's the cannon ult.
Keeps the cannon off of his whole team.
There's the Fiora ult. Lots of damage
Fiora
coming in.
ult
There goes the
going down.
cannon.
Getting off
Before
a lot of
Fiora is
damage,
dropped,
killing
there goes one
cannon.
of their carries.
And wow, this is going horribly for North Dakota.
Skillwrecks lands the
Madison
hook onto
is making a statement.
Skillwrecks lands the hook onto the Morgana, blocks her down. She is unable to
Wow,
escape.
they just crushed Zed before he can kill anyone.
But here comes the Jinx though. Both of them are
Jinx
low halls.
is having his own say, and
She turned this fight
that
around.
fight was all over the place. Kirby Commander, not sure where he was going. Maybe he thought that fight was over, but clearly it wasn't.
Jinx is definitely making a name for herself. She is now 7-1. That's going to
And
be a
that-
lot of gold picked up for her on her next back.
And that will be a very difficult force to deal with because of the Morgana peels. Morgana being able to ult and defend Jinx with Kennen as well coming in. You have to go through both of them to get to Jinx. Plus the Morgana shield will prevent her from getting locked down by Sejuani and Thresh.
And she's currently sitting around about 3,000 gold in her pocket. That's going to be an entirely new finished item when she decides to go back to base, which is now.
That will be a very, very scary champion. This team is really built around Jinx in a lot of ways except for Zed.
And all of that AoE to fight through is just going to get more and more scary. Up until that point where they can start picking up Banshees, but that isn't for another 10 minutes yet at least.
Definitely. That disengage from Sejuani has been fairly effective at holding back the AoE team fight, keeping Kennen from charging into the whole team.
That Slicing Maelstrom, he's 7-2, that's going to have a big impact, but Sejuani is doing a great job keeping that just out of range. So I'm hoping, hey, maybe Carry Plox can still keep that up through this entire game. Sejuani
And that
sticking
will
around.
be a huge factor. And where that Morgana Black Shield goes will also be a huge factor if she can manage to, because essentially it will be a choice between Kennen and Jinx. Who is more important to keep free of CC, and it could end up being Kennen with him being more in the fight.
North Dakota doing a 4 versus 3 on that turret.
And there we see
Zed
Sivir
dives the
shielding
Sivir.
ult.
There goes the Black. There goes Zed ult. Not enough damage to
And-
kill her. Meanwhile,
and-
the rest of Madison is delaying the backs while Fiora is going into the base. Pretty soon, Vaerris is going to be knocking on that inhibitor turret. And I don't think North Dakota has enough options. Sure, they take the inner turret, but there's still 3 members of Madison there. They aren't going to be able to take that slow.
And they're playing aggressive, going for the Vlad. Nice
There's the Thresh
engage
Fox.
by Kirby Foxors.
Oh, there's the
Fight is
Kenny.
going
Kenny.
down though, and Kirby Foxors manages to get out.
There's the
Thresh
Sivir ult.
and Vladimir are not so lucky.
Sivir ult in the 1v1 versus Zed. Sivir is
like
out
we
of
have-
mana though.
A 1v2 trade there, 1-4-2 trade.
And North Dakota
And
continues the pressure in.
Now a
Jinx
1-4-3 trade. Jinx is just shredding the entire team.
Here comes the
Jeremy
Sejuani though.
Foxor's a little aggressive there.
Did not know who to target
Blinding
at
goes
first.
down,
That
and
first
so does
lantern.
Sejuani.
Yeah, it looked like for the first part of that he was charging right at the Morgana, but Morgana isn't the priority target there. While he's charging at her, Jinx is just able to land auto attack after auto attack on him, completely shredding through his health bar and taking him out.
And going straight at a Morgana gives quite the easy binding target.
The one benefit of that is, even though that they had a 1-for-3 trade and the loss of their inner turret, they have an exposed inhibitor in bot lane.
That is true. They are holding on in this game. The play has been a little bit sloppy so far, but there is the potential to turn this game around yet.
And another thing to be noticed is that they've gotten both of the dragons so far. That means they're 2 away from the big dragon buff.
That is very true, and if North Dakota continues to not contest these dragons, then that won't be a problem.
Dragon's up in 30 seconds. Currently, the vision game in that river by the Dragon Pit is all North Dakota's. There's only a couple wards on the ends of the river by Madison, but they're making moves in to try and get some of that vision back.
They could be actually going for this dragon, claiming it as their own, and making sure Madison does not get this one.
Well, one of the
It
issues that
has yet to be seen.
One of the issues that I'm seeing about Madison with this dragon is you have a Kennen shoving top lane. He has enough AP to just shred those minion waves. Zed is bottom. He's a force to be reckoned with.
And Kennen has that teleport, which I believe is up, so he can just teleport in.
Here comes Kirby Commander with the teleport
there it
in.
goes. Okay,
There's the
Kennen
Kennen
is coming
teleport.
in.
And Kirby Commander's
And
taking all of
he's
those
gonna be
dragon
up.
shots.
He canceled the
Kennen
teleport.
cancels the teleport.
And this is
Jinx
another
ult.
dragon for Madison. Somehow, again, being behind 6k gold before the dragon, probably even more
Here comes
than
the
that.
Sivir ult. Lands the hook onto the
And
Jinx.
wow,
There goes the
on
Jinx.
This is not good for
Sivir
North
ult.
Dakota. 1 for 1 so far.
Vi drops.
And now we
Kennen
got a 1 for 2.
drops. There goes the
Zed
Zed.
going down.
Death
Morgana
Mark does
going
not
down.
take out anyone. Kirby Commander with the quadra kill.
Everyone except Kennen in the dirt. We have Vaerris going back to defend against Kennen. Probably won't have a problem with that low health Kennen. And this is just the biggest throw I have ever seen. Wow, North Dakota is just letting go of their lead.
I think at this point, I'm going to maintain that Kirby Commander is going back to his roots, going back to that old strategy of feeding to win. Going 1-6, picking up a quadra kill.
Oh no, Kirby Foxor sneaks out just barely.
Kirby Commander might need to sacrifice his life, but it looks like that North Dakota's hardcore going onto that Sejuani. She's a pretty mobile boar. She's going to make it out perfectly fine. There's the Jinx ult, though.
No, Jinx
Takes her out.
ult Picks off Kirby Foxors. He had it made, but just a perfectly aimed ult finishes him off.
Kirby Commander
And-
now is 5-6. He's got
And he will be a huge force. Vladimir Lakin.
Looking at his CS difference, though, between him and that 9-2 Kennen, he's 100 CS up. But you'll notice, even though this Kennen is a lot, is 9-2, he's still a force to be reckoned with. That Zhonya's and the stun.
Very true, but Kennen going down regardless. Vaerris making a statement, and Morgana going down as well. This is just chaos, and Madison is making plays all across the map.
There's the Sejuani ult onto the Jinx. That's a lot of damage.
With that CC,
Vi
that is a wise decision.
Vi went in onto the Thresh, which I don't really understand, since he had used all of his CC at that point.
That is a good question.
That might have been just a
sure
slight
the reason
mistake
for that.
on the part of the Vi.
And looks like we have Madison going for Baron. The death timers are ticking down rather quickly. We couldn't see a fight yet. Kennen doesn't have his teleport though.
Here comes the Vi to maybe contest it. Jinx is in the area as well, but she's half health.
It looks
That is
like
coming
this
up
will
too.
be a free Baron for Madison.
This is uncontested.
And completely uncontested. This gold lead is quickly closing down. Almost equal.
There's kirbycommander just zoning the entire North Dakota team. They are not able to make a move with him standing there, taunting him with that Vladimir laugh.
And that is just incredible. And like you were talking about, even though Kennen is way ahead in kills, Vladimir is ahead of him in gold by 2k. Somehow, just through the CS.
It's that impeccable Vladimir CSing that he's been doing this entire game. You can tell that Madison's been putting a lot of focus onto him. He's been getting all of the jungle camps he wants, all of the side lanes, just coming up big.
That's really what Vladimir does. He just pushes so hard, can farm so easily, and late game is a pain in your butt with that AoE damage, and he's really hard to take down. On top of that, with his pool and the Zhonyas, and his burst is so strong.
And taking a second look at Madison's comp, if you're using the Fiora for split pushing, she's really strong in the 1v1. And you can
As
see,
we have seen,
you saw earlier with the Kennen plays and when she was taking on that inhibitor turret against Zed, she actually won both of those fights despite being down in kills and CS. And so if
and really here I think we're seeing the late game power of the Madison team.
And looking at the Sivir and the Fiora and the Vlad, those are three really strong pushers. There's no way that the North Dakota team is going to be able to siege up, even if one of them's there. Sivir can just throw out her boomerang, Vlad can be tanky and use his spells on the minions, easily
That
clearing
is
them.
very true. And they
Fiora's
have
going to find the side lane.
the Sejuani and the Thresh for disengage as well, if it comes to that, which they have made use of many times.
Vaerris on that Fiora, now with the Banshee's Veil, he's not going to care so much about all of that CC that Kennen and Morgana are able to offer. So he's going to be going it hard, trying to nuke an AD
out
carry.
plenty of damage on top of that. Binding lands on a Sejuani. Not their prime first target.
Their binding lands on the Skillwrecks. He's still in range of the
And
inhibitor. There's
we
the Jinx
do have a
ult.
fight over
There's the
inhibitor.
Kennen.
Kennen coming in, devastating the team really, going down though.
Sejuani
And
coming back into the fight to try and CC some of that Zed damage away from Sivir. Is able to successfully do that.
We could see an ace coming out. There's the ace. And this is GG.
What
Well
a turnaround
played.
for the Madison team. Down in gold the entire game, able to focus the objectives and get all of that CS onto the Vlad, turn the game around.
And end with a 4k gold lead after being down almost the entire game.
GG
really-
to Madison.
Being in command of objectives the whole game, really, despite being behind in gold and kills, and pulling it out at the end.
That was a great game to watch. It was quite a nail-biter for the majority of it. I mean, if you're looking at the kills, that's 10-3 Jinx is an
Yeah.
absolute scary thing to deal with. The 9-4 Kennen, his ult just would tear through people.
Right, and that team fight is a scary, scary thing with Kennen and Morgana, all those power team fighters.
But Madison was able to keep everyone separated, keep the Kennen off to the side where he couldn't be doing damage, and then Fiora just managed to dive deep and take out that Jinx.
And I don't know how this happened, really. They were down in kills and they still won. But if we look at the assists, we can see that Madison was better able to coordinate in their fights and spread that gold around a little bit.
Yeah, their team fighting was absolutely impeccable. Once they got a good engagement, even if it was the other team engaging on them, they were able to turn it around, get the kills in their favor there, and that split push by Vaerris, I think, was the highlight of the game.
Definitely.
He managed to take down 2 turrets and 1v1 the Zed without dying, and that pulled essentially all of North Dakota off of Madison's top inhibitor.
Yep, they definitely had to respect that Vlad push. It took Vi away from the rest of the team, and even then, with Vi around, able to confront him, only killing him when after he attempted a tower dive.
And just, in addition to all of those individual plays, that dragon control was just perfect. They managed to get 3 dragons out of that, and all 3 of the dragons went to Madison.
Yeah, they really just nailed down the timing of that dragon and all being in the right place at the right time, having the vision, doing whatever it took to take control of that dragon. And I gotta wonder, though, some of that seemed like a messy play on the other side, and just a hesitance to engage.
Yeah, Vi sat over the wall for the first dragon, and on that one dragon where Vladimir teleported in, Kennen teleported in too, but he ended up canceling it and just running down and being late to the fight.
Yeah, and I could have seen that working out if he just ulted in and Zhonya'd, but his team was somewhat out of position for that, and they wouldn't have really been able to back him up. And that's kind of where their timing went off a little bit, and then Kennen couldn't even get down there in time after that to engage for a fight.
So just a couple mistakes by the other team that Madison was able to capitalize on. Dragon control and a couple great split pushes managed to turn around that major kill deficit game into a surprising victory for Madison.
But good job on both sides. Both teams making a strong case for themselves.
Absolutely.